All right, we're live.
Hey, hang on. I'm all backlit. I mean, bright lit. Okay. Whew. Hey, everybody. We are Dicey Decisions
Indeed, we are.
RPG. And we are missing a whole bunch of our players tonight due to scheduling conflict. So it's an odd situation that we haven't had before. But so we're going to hang out and just talk about the campaign so far. And I've got some questions for John to think about and try to answer.
What? You're
So
not gonna run the
John
campaign?
is on the spot.
Oh
Oh, how,
boy.
well, I guess I could run a one shot just for you. Um,
nah, nah. I'll just play. I'll play everyone, um, and Stony, and then oh, hello, Fern. How are you doing today? Oh, hello, Stony. A great day to be accosted by this hag here. Boy, we really are in a pickle. My, you are so smart and so handsome. Well, yes, friend, I know that already. They'd just go like that or something.
yeah, okay. So anyway, if we do we have any people in the chat right now?
I don't know. Let me check.
Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to just run through some general questions and we'll just talk about what we've done so far and we'll
Lady
see how
Vengeance
you
is here.
handle this.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Lady Vengeance. If you guys in chat have any questions about our current campaign, just holler them out in chat, and we'll try to answer right here, right now, live. But to start us off, I kind of wanted to, and I know that the players sometimes talk without the DM, kind of hang out and chat about things. So, what do you think so far, John, is the theme or the vibe or the feel of this campaign? Do we fit a genre?
Um, a genre in like what sense? I mean, because I know that we do D&D, but are you talking about like the campaign story as a whole? Like what's the overall overarching theme?
Kind of like if you were going to describe to somebody what this campaign's about or how it feels to play in it, what are some adjectives you'd use to describe?
Well, I think the biggest theme that I really appreciate about this campaign is that like great power can come from anywhere. Anyone can stand up and be a hero, right? Or want to do good. But I think with like the zeros to heroes type aspect, we're really getting a feel for this sort of transformation. I think that's a big theme as well. There's a whole lot that the characters are doing to transform to rise up to the challenge. If just think about like um, Stony and Fern's journey. I mean, they've kind of like gone in opposite directions. It almost feels like because Fern used to be chipper, like a chipper, carefree type character, and Stony was the more tightly wound, like oh, I gotta get a grip on all of this, and then it's sort of like swapped somewhere in between. Um, but also
Well, that's
like for
largely due to the way you're playing him too. Like Stoney's having a lot of fun. He's got purpose now,
yeah,
whereas before,
and I see that in Rip and in Sunny and Pieta too. I mean, there's a lot of transformation that's going on in this campaign, and I think I mean our title Zeros to Heroes. how how does a zero transform into a hero, and we're sort of figuring that out with this journey.
Yeah, that's a good point. Transformation is happening. Well, of course, change is always happening
Right.
everywhere, but this is happening in a transformative time in Exandria where the gods have disappeared. And well, that brings me to another question along the same lines. Um, you've met some really powerful, earth-shaking creatures,
Yes.
and you are still very, you're just barely scratching the surface of your your future abilities, and we'll see
Mm-hmm.
how far this goes. But how, I guess, has meeting these creatures that you can't even comprehend in power, in ability, in just sheer, oh, what's the word? Presence. These people change the world as they just existing in a space and time.
Mm-hmm.
You've met uh, a very powerful coven. You've
Mm-hmm.
met some powerful fae. You've directly had voice contact with one of the gods, one of the fallen ones, the what are they called? The betrayer
Betrayer
gods.
gods,
They're
yeah.
yeah. How has this changed your character? Or how has it affected the group, do you think?
I think that um, for Stony at least, and I answered some of these questions to you already, is that like um, Stony has always wanted as much power as he could grasp, to therefore then control his own destiny, and go where he sort of wants to. And when he's faced with something that is totally and utterly out of his control, um, his first thought is to go to anger, as most people want to rage and to stand up. And I think that in facing these impossible challenges that he can't have control over, has made him realize that, you know, getting angry doesn't always solve the problem, or getting frustrated, and it doesn't stop him from feeling those things, but it's made him reflect a bit more. He's taken a step back, and he's saying to himself, well, if I can't control what's around me yet, that's the key word, yet, um, how can I at least control how I respond to this situation? How can I get out of this? How can I gain a little bit more control back, that historically doesn't work with anger? Sometimes anger is warranted, sure. Um, just talk to any barbarian. They'll tell you that anger is the solution to everything. They first thing they do in combat is rage, rah, smash. But for him, he doesn't have that sort of tools at his disposal, so he goes to his own tools, and he says, um, "Well, I don't know how to solve this whole gods walking amongst us here at first, um, but I can help with agriculture. I can help these folk here who pray to Pelor, who increases Pelor's influence on the world, and therefore I can wrest controls back from the evils that surround us." So, he's sort of like, well, let's go with the flow. Let's not abandon our morals, our principles, um, but in the back of my let's keep those at the back of the mind. But first, let's go with the flow. Let's see where things lead us, and then find a better time to wrest control from the situation. Um, I think in the current situation that we're dealing with, as an example, uh, he just out he just outright wants to kill this a scrape nail. Um, he thinks that's probably the best solution. But Fern seems to think that this, there could be an alternate solution, and he might, before he might have butt heads with Fern, be like, no, like obviously this thing needs to die, so we should kill it. I'm not going to listen to you. But I think that um, he's more open to the options that is around him. And
Um,
that is how he has changed with the powers that are far beyond his control. It's well, time to go with the flow, see where it leads me, come up with new
the,
solutions.
the current situation we're in is that we are underground under a small community that is being slowly rotted away. Their fields are dying,
Blighted,
and
cursed, what have you.
right, and the group went under the ground underneath it and found the lair of what's clearly a green hag. So they're just now about to have a conversation with that person. But one thing I found interesting about this whole situation is that these people came, they welcomed you in, they gave you a place to stay,
Mm-hmm.
basically telling you that, that's what they always did because of who they are, because of the God who set them up there. But then you guys disappeared without saying a single thing and went down to solve their problem. You didn't even tell the community that you were going to do it. You just, yeah. And I think uh, 20 or 30 episodes ago, as we were starting out, you guys would not have done that. You'd have talked around it and maybe even decided not to.
I think part of that might be because we're as players, we know that we're a little bit more powerful. 30
Sure.
sessions ago we were just barely level 1, or I don't even know, like I guess by session 10 we would have been level 1. And now we're level 4. I think that we sort of have more of a foothold, a coming into our resting of control. Like, yes, we're not as powerful as maybe we need to be to fight these greater things, but we know that uh, you know we can actually take on some things now. And I think that just without really having to discuss it with everyone in the party, we're just like, yeah, we're we're capable now. Let's get going. Let's get moving. No need to dawdle. We
Yeah,
don't need to tell
it's
them.
also
We're gonna
more
solve the problem.
more of what I've found is that you guys have clearly chosen to be good guys. You've clearly chosen to be on the side of good instead of, like, we got a rogue, we've got a warlock who's heavily influenced by less than savory powerful people, but everyone has chosen to do good.
There's a part in me though that says, now hold on, Jack. Hold on, just a moment, because I I love to think about a world where Stony is evil. I did the same thing with the other campaigns we did in the past with Greenhorn. You remember how sweet
Uh-huh.
Greenhorn, but I had a path laid out for her where she turned completely evil. I was ready for it. But have you seen the new Superman at all?
I haven't, no.
Um, Well, if you haven't, I definitely recommend seeing it. It's a lot of fun to watch. And I loved the character Lex Luthor, who was played by, hang on, let me pull up his name.
Yeah, the guy from the TV show, right? The old Superman TV show. It's the same actor, I believe.
Nicholas Holt. He was actually originally up for, he was auditioning for Superman,
Oh,
but
no
he,
kidding.
he didn't get the part, and he was really sad about that. But they offered him Lex Luthor, and he did an amazing job. And oh, he had such very like delicious moments, and I kept thinking to myself like, if Stoney were evil, he would be this guy. He would be this guy.
Well, if the quest is for power and transformation into a more and more powerful creature to control his destiny, that's certainly, if like that's your number one goal, it could bring you in that direction. That would be an interesting character arc to watch. I'm
We have a
not saying
question
you should do it.
from chat here,
All
from
right.
our very own Dicey Decisions. I'm assuming that's Scott.
Might be.
He asks, looking back, how have the characters' relationships differed from what you expected from the beginning, if at all? Um, that is a great question.
While you're thinking, let me make a couple comments. How have the characters' relationships changed? I hmm. I don't see much change. We are in this narrative campaign really slow rolling everything. And I think players are completely on board with that. And I don't think too much of the character arcs have progressed yet. There are slight changes. I think maybe Stony is the clearest example of a temper, like your initial biting responses are now tempered because these are not just people you've been thrown together with anymore. They're people you choose to be with. But some of our players are really like, I'm not changing at all because I'm not ready yet. Like nothing has forced me to change. I'm thinking specifically about Sunny, just like sticking hard to that road, that that core belief that her character is just simple and good and bad are gray, and uh, she's a happy person, but nothing has happened so bad. Well, that's not true, but it hasn't really shown up yet. She remember when she was put in charge of the group and called the leader, she was kind of freaked out by that. But I don't think it's changed her too much. If anything like that happens again, it may. But I think all of our players are really um, focused on what their characters are and are in the moment. All right,
Um,
Johnny.
so I guess I first have to think about what my expectations were from the beginning. Um, and I'm not sure if I really remember too much about what I expected. Um, I'll tell you the obvious ones. The obvious expectations were um, me and Fern were going to have some kind of tension between us. You know, it's like are they, aren't they type thing. And
Was that planned out, by the way? I never asked that question. Did you guys talk about that?
yes, we did. We did. We've talked about it before, and we thought it would be interesting. Um, I I've surprised myself with how I've sort of responded with Stony, um, because I don't know. There are a lot of things that I haven't revealed about Stoney's past, like, and specifically Fern and Stoney's relationship in the past.
Hmm.
There is that one giant event that he sort of he he hasn't talked about recently. Um, that happened with him and Fern. Um, but I will say that he does feel immensely guilty about it when he thinks about it. Of course, guilt isn't a useful emotion for him right now, so he's kind of like, you deal with that later, type thing, type mentality. Um, I think that um, Stoney and Pieta's relationship is interesting. Um, I don't know if we mentioned this on stream before, but uh, Pieta or Daniel is pretty on the nose with the Spider-Man stuff. But what's not so obvious is, I decided that I would make the Tal'Dorei Iron Man of this of Tal'Dorei, the Iron Man of Tal'Dorei. Um, and it becomes more obvious that the deeper you look, and I didn't. I guess I didn't really. I expected it to be more like um, mentor like, because I think that's kind of what Daniel wanted. But he's been. I mean, they're peers, right? He
Right.
sees Pieta as a powerful ally, but he doesn't. Um, Sometimes he's not really sure how to connect with Pieta, except for his heroic and meditative instinct. Um, Sunny's kind of surprised me too. It's definitely not what I had expected, but Mel has done a lot with Sunny that I do not expect, and I love cackling at everything that she brings with Sunny because it's so unexpected, and I just kind of I just kind of feed that laughter into Stony, and he goes, you know, maybe like she doesn't understand the funny phrases that come out of Stony's mouth, uh, but Stony like totally understands that Sunny wants to do good, and they have a sort of like camaraderie over wanting to just take it easy, really. Even though Stony seems like he's busy all the time. Um, and then
For
with
a person who doesn't want to do any labor, Stony is constantly doing something.
yes, much to his chagrin, but maybe he enjoys it more than he really lets on. And then finally, Rip. I think that um, you know, Stony and Rip have had have really like grown up together. They're sort of like a ride or die. Like I can always count on Rip, and when you know Rip died, that was such a huge wake up call to Stony. He just it sort of like turned his whole world upside down. Um, and he didn't want to accept Rip's death either. And so now he wants he he hasn't really had an opportunity to show this off, but he now feels that he needs to be even more protective of not just Rip, but to every single person in the group. And part of that whole encompassing feeling is partly why he doesn't he's not really challenging his friends in any other way other than to become more powerful versions of themselves. he thinks that it right now maybe this is still part of his flaw. He feels that, so long as, they have good intentions, and they're gaining more power, they can have control over the things they want to have control over in life, because that's what he wants, and that's, you know so um, it has changed the way that he has played in combat as well. I was going to make him more combat focused, actually, but instead I have made him more defensive. I'm having him up in the like in the front lines now. Like, he's made a shield. He says, you know, I don't want to see my friends hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Let me take the blows. And that I will say was something that I did not expect at the beginning.
Yeah, when you charged up on that undead, that giant undead construct monster, that took me by surprise. Like you just went charging all alone into certain death, basically. Um, and and also you got hit immediately and just stayed right there, like attracting the attention, just pulling the attention to yourself. Yeah, that was kind of a turning point moment, I think, for Stony.
Yeah, and he I mean, I made him like the from the beginning. I wanted to make him like the biggest wuss ever, fighting from the back, like just chilling out, just firing, magic missiles, here, there, like I'm a tactical genius. And now he's not only Iron Man, he's a little bit of Captain America too. Just stuff all the Marvel characters in there.
Right. Um, I've got more questions, although I'm trying to think of the correct order to ask them in. Uh, Let me ask you this. How much of you is coming out in Stony, if any?
Uh, you might laugh at this. Well, I expect some people to laugh at this, but I mean, to no one's surprise, I made a character that is entirely my own ego, if that makes any sense. Like,
Sure.
I took every ounce of ego that I had, and I threw it out there, expecting him to be battered and bruised and uh, uplifted and be put into check. And so I would say that that's the part of me that I put in there. I think that um, I I try to, when I make characters, to put uh, to over exaggerate. Um, wait, wait. Should I say over exaggerate, or someone out there is gonna be like, "Oh, John, that's not an over exaggeration." Um,
You're
but no,
saying
I
you
just
took your ego and inflated it to fill it
to
up with
yes,
Stony.
yes, to fill Sony with this ego, this I I love it when he talks about um those what I say, those egotistical fops at the Alabaster
Yeah.
Lyceum.
Hmm.
The pot calling the kettle black,
Exactly.
type
And
thing.
somebody called you out on it too as soon as you said that.
So
Or
yeah,
made a
yeah.
snide comment. Yeah.
There's a little part in me in there, and I think I'm adding I'm adding more things as he transforms. I don't think I'm quite as analytical or heady about the way he tackles emotions, but I don't know. Um, just kind of threw that in him and wanted to see where that goes.
He's very much a guy who you might find playing D&D.
Sure, I know that he would love to play D&D.
Okay, next question. Getting back to the campaign itself, there are a lot of moving pieces. How much do you think your party has figured out? Or how many of the pieces have fallen into place?
Uh, uh, my gut wants to say absolutely none of it has fallen into place in their head, which I think it's partially true. But I mean, we have a lot of clues. I know we do. The player John does not know how to fit them together sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I, as DM, I feel like I, at first, I was very slow to release clues, but I feel like you've got a ton of things right now to try to fit together, and like you don't know where the edges are to the puzzle, so you don't have any anchors to start snapping them in there. But you definitely have the gist somewhere. Uh,
I mean,
but
we have an imminent problem at the moment,
right,
and solving it is going to be rather the task to
right,
fix.
and a lot of the particulars that you don't get, since you already know what you're doing, may not matter. You know, the whys of everybody's operation. Why are they doing that? Why are these people here? May not matter. They might matter to your characters, but to players it might not because you're just you know you have something to solve, so that's what you're running to first.
Yes, I think that's kind of where we are at the moment.
And I think right now you're headed to just gather more clues to try to make it all fit together, right? You're on the way to Iman to ask questions.
Yes. And then after that, we have another direction to go. Well, we have two directions to go.
Two directions given to you by the green, the deep green,
Lady Athethil.
yeah, the Fey over
Oh,
Archfey. Yeah.
yes.
So, do you have any questions for me as DM, or advice, or feedback?
Hmm. Do you think that. I suppose this might be a hard question to answer without giving too much away. But do you think that we are going in a good direction? And I mean that in the sense of like are we on track? Are we focused on the right things?
So, the way I put this whole thing together, clearly there's a lot of stuff going on. The world is happening around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And things change as you guys are moving around. And I told, and this is for our viewers, I told our cast, our players, that at a certain point, the world becomes a sandbox. And we passed that point about, I don't know, 10 or 15 episodes ago. So wherever they go from here on out is entirely up to them. And I'll react to what they choose. Um, I have, you have got direction, but there are lots of directions. There's Let me just run down the list off the top of my head. The gods don't exist right now, except in mortal form. The weave, the magic around that covers the whole planet, you five saw falling apart. The nearby city of Kimal, which is known as a city of like thieves and gamblers and that type, like it's not a good place. They are trying to make incursions. You don't even know if your Iman, your overarching empire, is actually the good guys at this point. Um, you've been chased by cultists who tracked you down and tried to get you. You have been in the Feywild, or at least adjacent to Feywild twice for reasons that you were completely out of control and didn't. Well, you kind of asked to go see the coven, but
Yeah.
um, there's just a lot of things happening, and I'm kind of just letting it happen. There is a time clock ticking in my head, but you guys don't know what that is. Maybe nobody knows what that is. And as most DMs do, I'm trying to figure things out as we go too. Like, how do I've got lots of pieces that you guys have dropped crumbs all over the place that I want to fit together. For instance, Stoney's parents. I don't know where they are right now, and
Stony
Stoney's
doesn't
worried
either.
about it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yes, he's worried, but he also recognizes that he can't do anything about it. And
Sure. Yeah.
I think much to the question that I was asking, you mentioned a clock in your head, and I think the players are aware of this clock in your head, and I think my original question was pointed towards that clock in your head because we want to know what that clock is, and I guess I want to know is, are we on track to discovering what that clock is?
And I
Because I
guess
think,
my answer is it depends what you go and where you go and what you do,
come on,
because
tell me more, Jack. Tell me
there's
more.
no well, there's no one person who knows that clock. It's you guys know that Lolth is trying to jumpstart her career and beat all the other gods, right? To take control. You know that because her cultists are around and they already built one avatar that you guys snuffed immediately. But they're actively working at it. Can you slow them down? You know, there are things developing everywhere. Are you the only people in the world who know about this? You don't know. You have no idea. You've been kind of isolated this entire time. So yeah, I think your intent to find answers is 100% valid.
Okay.
But, but if you wait too long, if you look for answers too long, or if you rely on other people, you may run out of time, you know? So it just depends.
Oh boy, you know what? That reminds me of the time when we were doing what is it? Dragon Queen's Horde? No, what? Rise of I
Tiamat, yeah.
yeah. I don't know who suggested it, and I knew this was going to happen too. But someone was just like, you know what? We need a break. Let's go. Let's go to the spa resort. Let's go. and and in my head, in my play, I was like, pretty sure that's a bad idea, but I'm gonna see how this plays out. And it played out exactly how. and Gosh, I could just I was like, oh man. And then they and then the whole council like helped us sweep that under the rug, and then we never talked about it again. Oh man. Oh. That was good stuff. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, but I don't think any of us are going to be dawdling, that's for sure. I think, Stony won't he's not going to allow anyone to dawdle and like do other things, cuz you know, there's a there's a pretty huge problem presented right now. We need to stay on
Sure.
tasks. We need to use our connections. We need to gear up, and we need to haul ass, get out there and find more answers. So,
One could say you're dawdling right now.
one could, however, paylor is important, and making sure that people are safe is important. And um, yes, we lose a day to perhaps fighting this thing, and or making a deal or whatever,
Or dying.
or dying. But I think that like we were also smart with the other things too, like with the baby dragon and the goblins. Yeah, I mean, like we were just like that was a whole goofy scenario. We were like what is going on here, and then once we found out, we were like, yeah, it's let them figure it out, type thing. We, um,
Right. And I'm going to tell you out loud that many of the situations that pose, random encounters and whatever,
mm-hmm.
are going to be morally ambiguous. You won't know. Or you could see it from both sides, you know. You could have saved that dragon,
Yeah,
or, because you guys were thinking these mean old goblins trying to kill this baby dragon, but you waited around long enough to figure out the goblins were simply defending themselves. So I'm going to give you those types of things because I think the real world is not black and white so much.
yeah, yeah. Some I might argue a bit against that, but yes, I do agree. Um, I was trying to come up with a percentage here. Maybe like 80% of the time. Um, I have player knowledge to know that like, um, specifically some creatures, some intelligence creatures, um, in the Dungeons and Dragons world are just plain evil, no matter you know what they are. Like mind flayers, for example. Like
Like a blue
that's
dragon.
like a blue dragon. Yeah, and even the goblins too, because um, Maglubiet is a fairly
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That the god of the goblins. Yes.
mm,
However, there are a lot of PCs who are goblins. So if I think if you can, I think any creature that's smart enough to make its own decisions is more complex than just evil or not evil. That's the way I'm going to play it anyway.
okay.
Like that dragon could have been just hungry and tried to eat one of them, and then they started hitting it with arrows or whatever,
Sure.
not necessarily trying to take over the whole place, just to eat. So who should you have saved? Or, like you guys decided, it's really not your business.
Nope.
Or is it? Or is it?
Or is it?
Yeah, because if you're going to be the cops, the global cops, and get rid of all evil, it's going to slow you down.
I think the biggest thing is for for Stony in regards to um, in regards to how he chooses um, who to side with. He has to think about the type of people and creatures that he can harmonize with. And you know, goblins are they are harder to I guess to harmonize with in his eyes, um, because of
Because, yeah, why?
um, well, in that case, their penchant um,
Chaos.
for chaos, yes, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he would um, look at look at a goblin and immediately judge him a certain way. I think that like he just knows that with people who are who support Paylor, he knows that he can harmonize with them, um, and he knows that he will create uh, a world um, that's better. You know, he and I think that he believes that he needs to find some way that all creatures need to find some way to harmonize in their own way, right? Um, kind of like how nature is. Nature is kind of chaotic, but there is somewhat of a balance, and in that is kind of like a harmony. Um,
Okay.
if that makes any sense. Um,
It does, but the harmony in nature is global, whereas the life of an individual in nature is so chaotic.
right,
So it depends on the perspective and scale you're looking at.
right.
Anyway, I think that brings me to my last question.
Okay.
What are some big takeaways from this campaign so far? What are we at? I think we just finished 36 or 37,
36 or
episode
37.
36. Yeah. So we're a good chunk into it, but you could argue there's a heck of a long way to go. What are some big takeaways so far?
Mm, at least from our chat, I will say the big takeaway um, is transformation. That I think that's like the big keyword. I'm always trying to find out how Stony will transform next. I keep coming up with more and more props to use in the show, and it's got me thinking about how Stony is going to transform again, in the future, in the next 10 episodes or 5 episodes, or heck, even one episode. Who knows what'll happen to us?
Right.
Um, um, the other big
I did.
takeaway is that
I Go ahead.
no, you go first. I'll remember it.
Well, I did tell the cast that we are going to be on level 4 for a while, probably a long while. So I want you to fully embrace and learn and explore and evolve all of the things that you're able to do right now at level 4. I really want you to be comfortable enough to stay here for a long while because I feel like every level is harder and harder to get to. You know what I mean? It requires like if we were still playing the old way of experience points in D&D, it does take a lot longer to level up. And then recently they changed it to you're leveling up whenever. I think we're gonna. This is my rationale. Wandering through the countryside and like stumbling upon random things is not really that much of consequence to make you to spur another huge growth. And in D&D, every level is really powerful and big, in my opinion. Like for somebody in your party, every single step is going to be huge. Like not increasing your power exponentially, but every step is like a significant step up. It's not just a baby step, it's a big one. And so I think earning those steps needs to be a slow roll.
Yeah, and
Um,
I like that idea because um I mean we just leveled up. And
yeah,
I like to get cozy in a level and then, really feel like I earned that next level, like, you know, um using all of like Stoney's abilities to his power. He's telekinetic, he's telepathic now. He's got CC flying around. He's got like four augmentations going at once. He's got a suit that he's got to figure out. Um, he's he's started using his fists now, and he has no idea how to. He's never really had a chance to like figure out how to throw one. Um, you know, so I totally agree, and I think that level 4 is definitely powerful enough, at least for now.
yeah.
Um,
I would say it's powerful enough to survive most of the normal things that random encounters would bring. If
yes,
you stumble into something that is bigger than you can deal with, you might want to back away and, like, I guess, kind of like you did with the goblins, you would have had to fight a village. That wouldn't have been a smart move.
right, and I think in that we as players have to get a sense of the threat level that you like give us, like, because I mean a baby blue dragon is nothing to scoff at. um
Yeah.
and you know piles and piles upon goblins is no laughing matter either. I think that um having that understanding, and then we as players deciding what to do about that certain threat level, whether we decide to gamble our lives or run away. um, you know
Yeah.
by the way, Mel wants me to get some great magic items for free, so I'm gonna pull up the wondrous item list here, and then I'll just give
Free from
you
who?
from
From me?
you. Yeah, from you.
It's hard to give items away when we're not even playing.
Uh,
Uh,
and then Jack, uh, uh, and then Scott here in the comments saying, "You are talking to the DM that pulled out Cone of Coal on second level characters." Yes, I am. I am aware of who I am talking to. Um,
yeah.
so that's
Oh,
I
that's a good encounter to bring up too, because that didn't have to go the way it did. I'm I've always got in the back of my mind that talking through something is as reasonable as fighting through something in my game, because nobody wants to die. That person who blasted y'all with a cone of cold did it because you guys had just sniped her husband. Not that you actually would know that, but um,
well, now we
yeah,
know now. We know
she,
now.
well, in game, she screamed and ran to him and then blasted you guys with a cone of cold. She was powerful, and that was her most powerful thing, but she had a reason to do that.
So
It
it
wasn't,
sounds, yeah. Well,
I'm
here's the
not just
thing.
throwing monsters at you for that, because monsters, in my opinion, almost nothing will fight to the death unless you force them to. And
Right.
if it's something's about to get killed, it'll back off and say, I'm out. It'll run off
I
if
think
it can.
I think part of that is um, D&D 5e or one D&D, whichever one we're I think we're technically
Whatever.
using both at this point.
Okay.
Um, the 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 module, the rule set, does offer solutions to, you know, using your voice and stepping up that way. And I do appreciate the way that you sort of lean into that as an option. However, I think that fighting is just as valid as option,
Sure.
because I like combat in D&D. Sometimes I want to fight things, and
Absolutely.
sometimes I need to know beforehand what exactly I'm up against as a player. Maybe not my character, but maybe as a player. Um,
I'm not sure you're going to get that.
well, all right then. I guess we'll just figure it out as we go. Um, and on that same note, like, uh, not every not every successful role that we make is a complete success either, and I think that's very that's very fascinating the way that you do that. I'm not though. Sometimes I'm a little unsure of what to do at times because I think the other day I had rolled to investigate something, and I thought I rolled really well, and I found a leaf, but I didn't know what the leaf was, or how that pertained to anything that was really really going on. So even though he was successful in finding the leaf, um, I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what to do next, and I was wondering if you could maybe talk to about like what you think um, you know we as players should do to um, I don't know how to put it, like guarantee more success in our roles, in our skill checks, or I don't know
Yeah.
what do you have to say about all that?
Well, clearly, I'm purposely making this thing difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least, at least challenging, if not difficult. And when we do roles, I think that logically, when you look at DCs, I think
Mm-hmm.
in the rule book they say a 30 is almost impossible. So
Right.
if you're rolling a 25, it's extremely difficult to hit that, and you're doing great, but it's not impossible to get that high.
Right.
But some things in this campaign are literally impossible. Like you can't know certain histories. You can roll a 30 on history, but if it's something from something that Lolth has done, it would be impossible to know it if it hasn't been written down in books, or you know what I'm saying? So my DCs for things are often higher than you guys may suspect. They're not impossible to get to, but they're really hard sometimes. And that leaf, for instance, in my mind, there was nothing there, zero. But you found a leaf, and I told you that the only way that a leaf could be there was that if it had come in with something. It couldn't have blown there. It must have been stuck to somebody's shoe or something like that. And to me, that was that was a giveaway. That was a tell. That was a clear sign
A tell
that
for what
something had passed
specifically?
through here. A
something had
tell
passed through here, but we
had passed through here.
well, and yeah, in that way, it was a success. Um, I'm trying to think of another example here, but in terms of like investigation for that, there were also um, vines that were moving. I don't remember. I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but
That happened a little bit later.
so that happened more down into the.
Yeah, as you guys went down the tunnel,
I see. Okay,
the vines.
so
So the
that's a
first
separate
thing that
situation.
y'all found was the leaf, and that made you understand that something had come this way.
I guess I got
But you,
confused um, because there was maybe Fern was talking about something about demarcations of an animal that perhaps passed through here, and um, I don't know. And then what was the other one? It was something that Fern rolled at the end of the last session too. So I don't know. Do you think I should continue, or we as players should continue asking for those rolls to do those checks, even if they might be impossible? Oh, did I lose you? I think I might have lost you. Uh oh. Uh, Jack down.
yeah,
Oh
like
no.
if you
Okay,
hit
never
a
mind.
30,
You're back. Okay. Oof.
oh, sorry.
All right, we're good. I think. Oh no, wait, no, we're not. Uh oh. Jack.
Hello?
Okay, okay, you're back now.
Here I am. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on. I keep talking and
And then that happens.
here I am. We're live, but how long
uh,
that'll stay, I don't know.
are you having internet issues? Spot of
No,
trouble?
everything seems fine. I don't know what it is.
Maybe it's me.
Um, I doubt it. Well, I was going to say if I tell you the DC beforehand, maybe that will make a difference.
You don't. I wouldn't say that you have to tell us the DC. Have you? I mean, you could tell us. I think it would be okay if you told us if you thought it was like impossible before making the roll, and
I haven't
maybe
I
like
haven't come
in
up with anything that's impossible yet. All of it's
okay,
doable. I think maybe the DC would be helpful to you guys.
like if you said well, like you don't have to say the DC, but like a clue, like you like let's say I was rolling a history check, you like just saying like uh you're pretty sure um you're pretty sure you could uh you would know this information easily. You just need a moment to remember, or things like this knowledge is entirely uh esoteric, and you are unsure that if it was ever written down at all, but you might have read something about it in a footnote, then I could probably guess how hard the roll is. Um, but I think like
So clues
maybe
to figuring out how difficult your questions are.
or yeah, like those kinds of clues are really helpful. But even more than that, I think it would also be really helpful to maybe like offer alternate solutions that have come out of a check. Like maybe like maybe I get really, really close on my history check. The DC is like 20 and I got like an 18. Um, what if it's just enough to cross reference with another skill check? And passing that skill check might bring you to the next level, but it's only there because just in case, you know, you're just like you're not quite there, you're not quite sure, but um and you could even make the DC higher if need be. Um uh
I
I'm
love that
thinking
you're
about
bargaining,
I'm
bargaining with me.
I'm trying to because I want more information, Jack. I want more
Yeah, it'll all
information.
come. It'll all come. uh,
Um, I think if you're trying to find a spot to end us off on, we're having a lot of fun, Jack. I don't want you to think otherwise because we're finding a lot of joy every time we come and hang out together on Monday. It's a hoot, it's
great.
a holler.
It's been a
I'm
lot of fun.
just come in and play D&D. It's nice. I like it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're frustrated to a degree because that means you're invested at least that far, right?
But why do you feel the need to force us to be invested, Jack? I promise you I'm invested.
I'm not forcing anything. It's just the same way we've done it since day one.
I'm gonna rip off my shirt. Rah!
All right. Well, thanks again, John, for spending this time with me and just hanging out and talking. And thanks to our viewers who will be watching this in the future.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for
we
joining
are
us. Here.
Dicey Decisions RPG. We are in the. Our next episode will be 37. Please join us on Discord on Dicey Decisions RPG and talk to us. Please give us likes and comments on our YouTube videos that these will all be loaded on. And hey, thanks for watching, and we're glad that you're getting any enjoyment out of this because we're just doing it for fun.
You better be enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
I'm talking to our viewers now.
Oh. All right. Well,
all right. Yeah.
anything?
Let's.
Any last words, Johnny?
Flippily floop dop glorp.
Good one. Good night, everybody.
I'm an alien. Goodbye. Wait, crap. Which one is it? Oh, it's this one.